Good day, everybody. Today, we need to talk about immunotherapy. Immunotherapy was the course of action that my cancer team took with me. I took nivolumab for 13 months. So my treatment, of course, is going to be very, very different from everybody else's outcomes. And so 13 months at my dosing, why do I have this memorized? 480 milliliters was a monthly appointment. So today I'd like to take you through kind of what the day of infusions would look like. My typical day of the immunotherapy infusions always started with a trip to the dermatologist, and I would have a skin scan every visit. Afterwards, I would go to the lab and they would set an IV, they would draw blood, lots and lots of vials of blood, and that IV would be set up for the rest of my day, whether I needed something for the CT scans or the PET scan. Oftentimes they would use that same IV that they would use later on in the day for my infusion. Then I would go to the scans should I need any. I seem to always need some sort of scan, whether it was chest or abdominal, or maybe I would go to a therapist appointment. There was a palliative care therapist that I thought was really, really neat, and I was able to talk to several different times. And then I met with my cancer team, and the cancer team would look at everything that had come in from that day, labs and such, scans and such. And then we would talk about like the course of action, where I'm going and what I've been up to as far as my body goes in the cancer fight. After that, a long day already, then I would slide back up to the 4th floor of the Emily Currick Cancer Center, and there I would just wait, and then they would call me in. I would sit in my chair, and they would ask, would you like anything? Would you like a warm blanket? And the answer was always absolutely. The warm blankets are the best. Would you like anything to eat or drink? And I said, my first answer was always, what you got? And so I always did some sort of crackers with ginger ale. That seemed to be the go-getter. They had this special little round ice cubes. That's a win right there. That's a win. And so I'd start with a settled stomach. Then they would come in, and it was like such an interesting procedure. They would wait for the lab, I think that was on that same floor, and they would release the medicine. Then the medicine would come by one nurse, and then the nurse would scan it in and double check and triple check, and then double check and triple check my lines and set these wonderful lines, which you will see in these pictures. Then they would have another set of nurses that would come in and double check, and they would ask me name, date, social security number. No, they would ask me all the important information about who I am, and then the infusion would start. When the infusion started, each time it was a little bit different. There would be a few minutes that I could, and maybe it was in my mind, I could feel that there was something different going into my body. I knew, other than feeling cold in the IV in my arms, I could feel that there was something different that was happening. I don't know if it was the environmental factors or what, but my hearing would be weird, wonky. My eyesight would be weird and wonky. And I could never understand what that part of it was. And if you had experienced any of those weird things during infusions, please comment. I would love to hear about what you were coming up with or feeling. But really, those side effects after I was done with my infusion, and usually took anywhere from 35 to, an hour. It just depended on how long the infusion lasted, the setup and so forth, and then the takedown. There were a lot of busy people there. Of course, we're talking about COVID, so they were trying to space everybody out and make sure that everybody had care, and maybe there just weren't as many people in that facility as needed because of COVID. But anyway, so sometimes there was a few minutes of waiting, but anyway, they would release me. I would then find Jennifer, and we would start the drive home. And typically the side effects for me, a couple hours in, I would feel very nauseous. It could be that I just threw down like some of the best Bodo's bagels ever because that's a thing that we did. Who knows? And maybe I'm anyway, so we would drive home, and sure enough, I would feel extremely sick. And then over the next couple days, more and more run down. And so I learned this is not the time to go out and start to hammer any interval sessions on the bike. I did try this. I learned the hard way. I was checking my data points. Everything started to fall apart for that first week. And so I held any intensity. I would do some duration cycling. Definitely would walk every single day after the infusion. I would walk, and that just seemed to jumpstart my entire body. When I did not do that, those were some of my worst feeling times. Just this diminishing returns on your day. I get tired, and odds were very high that I would take the day after the infusions off of teaching, maybe a half day the day after that even. And then kind of wait and see how my body was adjusting. Now, I have data points that I was checking too that I can validate how I was feeling. I could easily see I have this Aura ring, of course. You can check that out, OURA, that does various fitness tracking, and it's a device that has accelerometers and GPS and so forth, but also temperature. So I could see that my heart rate variability would drop after infusions. My resting heart rate would go up after infusions. And so I knew that there was just going to be this hard week. And so I tried not to push it during that week. Instead, I would start to try to build later on. I would start to build my fitness goals. And really, it was all about maintenance during those months that I was on immunotherapy. I mean, I could only get so far, and then it would start over each month. And then I would get so far, and it would start over. I started racing during that time period too, and had some decent results, actually some very good results, and then some moderate results. But my body certainly did not recover the way that it would normally recover. So some of the extra side effects that I got from Nevo, I had some real bad gut issues. I had chest pains. We treated those side effects with different kinds of steroids. My sleeping was tanking every which way but loose. We started therapy and ways to reduce anxiety. I was doing mindfulness and breathing apps and yoga and all sorts of ways to try to lower my overall stress. But I had rashes on my body. Not terrible, nothing that the dermatologist couldn't like jump onto, whether it was a steroid cream or whatnot. Then I would have sore muscles that were just unexplainable. Like I would wake up in the mornings and just feel like I had done a massive effort, having done nothing. I lost some weight. I would fluctuate weight all the time when I was on immunotherapy, and that's typically not normal for me. So it's pretty standard procedure. But anyway, those are just kind of some of the things that we were dealing with infusions. I hope you enjoyed seeing these pictures, the variety of pictures. The nursing staff was phenomenal. I mean, cracking jokes the whole time. I felt like that my calling was to go into this quad room where other people are getting either chemo or some sort of immunotherapy or something, and a lot of times they were very much older than me, and I would walk into any setting I could, being kept in good times and joking around, and always at the end, I would say, my compliments to the chef, or I would start with, I seem to be a quart low. If you can maybe hook up a quart of oil. Those kind of things, just kind of making a chuckle or getting a chuckle. Heck, it was perfect for me. So even if it was just for me, it was great. So again, everybody's therapy was different. I tried to stay positive through the whole thing. Again, I felt that positivity has always been my key. The immunotherapy is designed to teach my body to identify and fight cancer. And, knock on wood, I think that it has done its thing. So if you have different circumstances or different experiences with either nivolumab or Opdivo, or please tell me about how that was for you. Mine was specifically treating melanoma. I want to keep the message clear, and the message is that I'm reading a book. They're not talking about a fight. They want to talk about it as a journey. And so it's very easy for us to talk about a fight, but if this is a life with cancer, it's a long time to stay heightened in fight readiness. So let's walk with cancer, or let's pedal with cancer, because if we're not pedaling to beat cancer, we're just pedaling. Thanks, guys. I look forward to talking again soon.